We finally got some alignment on the BTC chart and total market cap. So in my previous video, I said to you guys, this is a fake high and we're likely going to take out the fake high. And that's exactly what's happened now. On the total market cap, when this fake high got created, the total market cap created a new all-time high. So I was convinced that BTC was going to come and take out this high. Now, my targets were around 126 to 128K. We've come to the regions of 125,725. There's a possibility we can drive higher at the beginning of next week, taking out previous week's high, depending on how we close down here. There's a couple of things that I want to go over with you guys, which are very, very important. So make sure you pay attention. Right, so although I was convinced to take a short from this region, it goes against my strategy and I don't want to take an entry where there's a possibility that we will get spiked out and then we'll get the rollover to the downside. But let me show you exactly what I'm looking at right now. Let's go on the weekly time frame on BTC. Number one, if we put in our bullish fib from this swing low to this swing high, we had the rejection of the OTE level and we've tapped into both of our targets, target number one and target number two. Let's remove that. Now we've swept liquidity, all of the liquidity that was resting above, and we're likely going to close below it. There's not much liquidity left above. Now, most of the liquidity is to the downside on BTC, 108,000, 107,000, and 100K. Given the fact that we've swept this all-time high, nothing has changed for me. In fact, it's giving me more conviction that we are going to roll over to the downside. And when we do, it's going to be very, very aggressive. Now, I want to show you guys something that I've noticed, and this happens over and over again. What happens when we take out highs? If we look similarly to the regions of around last year, so between December 2024 and Jan 2025, what's happened? We had a sweep of liquidity, we had a rollover to the downside. We've had a sweep of liquidity, we've had a rollover to the downside. Although this rollover to the downside didn't take out much liquidity as anticipated. I'll go over in a second what I mean. And we've now having a sweep of liquidity down here. What am I expecting? A rollover to the downside. If we scroll back a bit more, sweep of liquidity, roll over to the downside, sweep of liquidity, roll over to the downside. So when we get the rollover to the downside, the most important thing is, where are we looking for price to go? Where's the intention? What we want to pay attention to is the liquidity areas. So we had a sweep of liquidity down here. We had a sweep of liquidity down here. This is what we want to see. If we just come a bit more down here, we had all of this correction and we had a sweep of liquidity around these regions. And then that's when price moves to the upside. Similarly, down here, we had a sweep of liquidity and price moves to the upside. Now, the only issue with the way that the market's reacted around this region is we haven't had a major sweep of liquidity down here. What we were expecting is for price to come in and take out the liquidity around this region and then bolster to the upside. So that's what we're still waiting for. And we want to see how price reacts around that region. Now, this is a key vital area on BTC. And we look like we're going to close bearish for the day and also likely going to close below this all-time high, which is a good sign. Let's go on to the total market cap. Because on the opposing side, if we close bullish above this level, there's a possibility we're going to get a mini altcoin rally and BTC will likely come into the regions of around 128K. So we want to pay attention to how the market closes on the weekly down here on total and also on BTC. Now let's look at our targets on total, because we've struck one level which is around here. So we had the A, the B, tap into the OTE level, and we've already struck one of our key levels. The second level is around the regions of 4.35 trillion. Now, if we do close bullish, we will likely come into around that region, and that will be the result of an altcoin mini rally. Having said that, even if we do close to the downside, we may get a sweep next week, taking out previous week's high, and then we'll get the rollover to the downside. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed for me. Coming back to BTC, I'm still expecting the rollover to the downside. And to be fair, this just makes it more likely we're going to get a deeper and a more aggressive pullback to the downside. Now, let me show you one other thing as well, because when we get the sweep of all-time high and price moves down, let's see how the alts react around this region. So around December to Jan 2025, let's go on XRP. So it's around this region. We had the sweep of the all-time high. Look how aggressive price comes down. Down here, we've had the sweep of the all-time high. Price hasn't moved aggressively down to the downside yet. And this is why, although I mentioned my targets are around these regions, there's a very, very high chance that we can come much lower to the breakout, to this order block level, and possibly much lower as well. But I'll get onto that in another video. Solana, around this region, swept all-time high. Look how aggressive we've come back down. So the purpose of describing that to you is because if we get the move to the downside on BTC, on total market cap, I think the alts are going to nuke heavily. And if they nuke heavily, it's going to be a last opportunity to buy aggressively. Having said that, I could be completely wrong and we can just get the alt season from here, which is fine because I've set my positions up in a way that these altcoins have been purchased at very, very low prices. However, it's very, very unlikely we will get an alt season without the mass liquidations and capitulation causing extreme fear in the market. So that's what I wanted to just quickly jump on to give you a quick analysis. I will do another weekly outlook at some point once we get the close of the weekly candle. And finally, just quickly looking at the XRP short. In fact, I'm still in the short. Let me just go on the daily. I've noticed I was using a different exchange. So my shorts are currently in MEXC right now, but I'm using Binance Analysis, which is slightly different. So I did move my stop loss to break even. I haven't yet got tapped out. My actual entry was 3.081 on MEXC, so I'm still in this. There's a possibility that if we nuke from here, XRP could hit around those regions that I mentioned to you, 2.2, likely around the $2 regions, and this is going to be a huge trade if this plays out. If we move to the upside, I'm more than happy to take this risk. Again, my spot bags are already positioned that if we do move to the upside, I will make enough return on investment. But I'm more than happy to take the risk down here and hedge my position on my spot bags to trade a leverage trade to the downside on XRP. Any money that I make from this will then rotate into my spot bags. And this is the type of mindset you should be having. So I'll create another video in the next couple of days based on the weekly close, and I'll keep you updated if I take any other positions. If you like these types of videos, I trade crypto using the ICT strategy. So smash that like button, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.